Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is August 5th, 2025, and today we have great news because Barcelona have reached an agreement with the city of Barcelona in regards to the possible return to the Spotify Camp Nou. Also, we're going to talk about what's going to happen with Joffre Torrents now that the preseason Asia tour is over. And finally, the big bombshell of today, Ter Stegen refusing to sign the authorization that would allow Barcelona to share his medical records with La Liga. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with great news because Barcelona have reached an agreement with the city council that would allow the club to return in phases to the Spotify Camp Nou. Now this partial return would be of course concerning the first two rings. And let's recap if you don't know what I'm talking about. But the Camp Nou was built back in the 1950s. It only had two rings. A third ring was added during the 1980s that increased the club's capacity. And during the renovation, that third ring was completely demolished. And the third ring is currently rising in its place. And here's a picture of what the stadium looked after the third ring was completely demolished. Those are the two original rings from when the stadium was first built. They were of course completely refurbished. And now the third ring is going up. A new third ring is going up. Now, of course, Barcelona were planning to return to the Camp Nou by August 10th for the Joan Gamper Trophy match, where they were only going to use, of course, the first two rings, but because they are built. The third ring is still being built. But, of course, the city council did not allow Barcelona to get the licenses on time because the first two rings are still not ready yet to host 62,000 people, which is what their capacity currently is. Now, Barcelona are still aiming to return by the fourth fixture of La Liga season, the first home fixture for Barcelona, since the first three fixtures are going to be away matches. And it seems that Barcelona are not too confident that the two rings will be ready for that weekend. So instead, they have reached an agreement with the city council for a partial return to those first two rings, where first Barcelona would return during the first phase just to the Gol Sur and the Tribuna sections that can only host 27,000 people. Then as the season goes by and construction continues, Barcelona would be able to amplify their capacity to 45,000 people. And then as construction continues, the third phase would be, of course, completing both rings, and then the capacity would increase to 62,000 people. And of course, this has nothing to do with the third ring, which is not going to be done until next summer, and that's when the stadium's capacity will be 100,000 people. So this is definitely good news because, hey, we noticed that the two rings were not going to be ready by the beginning of this season. So instead of going to another stadium, Barcelona were able to negotiate a partial return where we return in phases to these first two rings. Now, this does not mean that Barcelona will for sure go back to the Camp Nou during the season. There's still a lot of work to be done. For example, Barcelona still have to finalize the points of access. They have to finalize, the safety measures. Once all that construction is done, then they're going to have to undergo a partial initial safety council inspection where safety and prevention checks are going to be conducted. Once that's done, they're going to have to undergo a full inspection, and they're also going to have to undergo inspection by the civil protection and fire departments. If all the inspections go well, Barcelona will get its license to again host 27,000 people for that Valencia match, and then eventually 45 and eventually 62. So definitely good news, but again, the work is not done. Barcelona still have a lot of work to do, but of course we do have about a month and a half to get this work done. Now, on to the next bit of news because we do have to talk about Joffre Torrents, someone we've talked about in the past. Of course, Hansi Flick has been watching Joffre Torrents for quite some time. He believes that he has what it takes to become Alejandro Balde's competition in that left back position, and Flick ended up inviting Joffre Torrents to the preseason training, ended up taking him to the preseason tour in Asia, and now it's reported that Hansi Flick has sent Joffre Torrents back to Barca Athletic. It's not because Joffre Torrents does not have what it takes. It's not because Flick is not happy. On the contrary, Flick is still impressed with Joffre Torrents, still believes he has what it takes to be Alejandro Balde's competition in the future. However, Flick believes that Joffre Torrents still is not fully ready to be a first-team player. So instead, he sent him back to Barca Athletic so he can continue growing, developing, getting better, and then eventually he'll, make his way up to the first team. So Flick is still content with Joffre Torrents, but, still needs a little bit of work, which of course is completely fine. We need to take our time with these young, promising players because not everybody's Lamine Yamal, not everybody's Pau Cubarsí, not everybody could just go and jump from, the academy to the first team and just kill it on the first day. Those guys are the exception, not the rule. Remember that. I think we've gotten a little bit spoiled where we see, these prodigies come out from the academy and at 16, 17 years old and they become first-team starters, and that's not the case for everybody. Lamine, Cubarsí, those guys are the exception, not the rule. Now, let's talk about the big bombshell today because reports today surfaced that Ter Stegen had refused to sign the authorization that would allow Barcelona to provide his medical records to La Liga. Now, as you know by now, Ter Stegen has undergone back surgery. It's expected that he's going to be out for between 4 to 5 months. So Barcelona, of course, wanted to use that special rule that La Liga has, that when a player is out for a very long time, you can register someone else in his place. So Barcelona were hoping to register Joan Garcia in the place of Ter Stegen. But in order to do that, of course, Barcelona have to go to La Liga and say, hey, Ter Stegen's going to be out 4 to 5 months. So we want to register Joan Garcia in his place. And of course, for that, they need proof. They need Ter Stegen's medical records. Like, look, he underwent surgery. He's going to be out all these months. Let us register Joan Garcia. And of course, Barcelona cannot share those medical records with La Liga without the approval of Ter Stegen because that's a fundamental right of privacy. We all have that rights as far as our medical records. And today, Mundo Deportivo dropping the bombshell stating that Ter Stegen had refused to sign that authorization. And without the authorization, Barcelona cannot present the medical records to La Liga. And therefore, they cannot get the approval of La Liga to register Joan Garcia in the place of Ter Stegen. Now, there's been a lot of reports flying all day, which it's been very difficult to track. Some reports stating that no, Ter Stegen's entourage has denied that hasn't happened, that no decision has been made, that there's a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Then other reports came out saying, no, that's not true. Then other reports saying that the reason why Ter Stegen did not sign the authorization is because, he wants to protect his privacy. Then other reports came out saying, no, it's because he disagrees with the report. The report says he's going to be out 4 months, but he thinks he's going to be out 3. There's been a lot of reports flying right now. Honestly, I cannot tell for sure what's true or what's not. But assuming that all of this is true, of course, I'm sure we'll know more tomorrow. But assuming all of this is true, Ter Stegen, my man, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Now, don't get me wrong. Ter Stegen is within his full legal right to not sign that authorization. It is his legal right to protect his medical records. But nonetheless, this is not a smart thing to do. Ter Stegen, my man, you are a club legend. You've been at the club for 11 years. You're a Barcelona captain. This is not how you want to end things. This is only going to tarnish your legacy. This is only going to burn the bridge with the club, and that's not how you want to end things. Now, I understand that Ter Stegen is upset with Laporta and Deco. They did not handle the situation well from day one, as I said multiple times. And look, I was right. This is only getting worse and worse. But again, Laporta and Deco one day, they're not going to be there. So Ter Stegen, you can still have a good relationship with the club. But by doing this, you're burning a bridge. And, well, this risks that you will forever be ostracized from FC Barcelona even after Laporta and Deco are gone. So Ter Stegen, please, my man, don't do this, bro. This is not the right way to go about things, even though it's your full legal right. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. However, having said that, let's look at the other side of this coin because people are forgetting another thing, and that's that there's another culprit here. What Ter Stegen is doing is wrong, and he's at fault for that. But there's also the Laporta and Deco side of the coin because they too are at fault here. And why is that? Because once again, the incompetence of Laporta and Deco has led us to this point. Because this would not be a problem if we had a way to register Joan Garcia. But because we need Ter Stegen's injury to register Joan Garcia, this has become a problem. Because once again, Laporta and Deco have decided to sign players with no plan in place on how to register them. They did it last summer. They registered Dani Olmo knowing damn well that they couldn't register him. And then they got lucky. Christensen got injured. And that injury saved their asses because otherwise Dani Olmo wouldn't have played the entire first half of the season. And now they're doing it again. They signed Joan Garcia with no idea on how to register him. And once again, they're trying to save their own asses with the injury of Ter Stegen. So don't let this blind you from the fact that both are wrong here. Ter Stegen is wrong. Jan Laporta and Deco are also wrong. And this, in the end, all it does is hurt the club. So before you say, oh, Mo, you're just defending Ter Stegen or you're just a Laporta hater, it's neither. I'm here looking out for Barcelona because at the end of the day, what's going to be hurt here is the club. Not Ter Stegen, not Laporta, not Deco. They're here. Eventually, they're not going to be, but the club will be. And that's the one who they are hurting because now Laporta and Deco are talking about maybe suing Ter Stegen. They've opened disciplinary actions. And then they could sue Ter Stegen. They can even try to fire him because he's refusing to divulge his medical records. And I don't think the club has, or Laporta and Deco have legal grounds to do this. Because even if La Liga allows it somehow for Barcelona to divulge these medical records without the consent of Ter Stegen, Spanish law trumps La Liga rules. And Spanish law protects the privacy and medical records of individuals. And you cannot share that without their consent. So if Barcelona do end up taking Ter Stegen to court and they end up losing, Laporta and Deco are not going to be the ones named on that complaint. It's going to be FC Barcelona. And if the court rules that the club need to pay Ter Stegen money for indemnification, it's not going to be Laporta and Deco's money. It's going to be the club's money. So again, there is no winner here. There's only one loser, and that's FC Barcelona. And that's thanks to Laporta and Deco's incompetence because from day one, they handled this situation badly. And I said it here on the channel. I said this is not a way to handle this because this is not a war you can win. You cannot go to war with a player who has a 3-year contract because Ter Stegen could easily say, okay, F it, I'm going to stay. Then what do you do? Now you have a player that you don't want that has an incredibly high salary just sitting there for 3 years collecting a very big paycheck. So knowing that you're on the losing end, why would you go to war with this guy? You should have handled this differently, but you didn't. And people said, oh, Mo, no. What? They're supposed to ask for his permission? What the hell are you talking? Well, look at where we at. Look at where we at. Had this situation been handled better, all of this couldn't have been avoided. But instead, Laporta and Deco went to war with Ter Stegen. And again, the only loser here is FC Barcelona because these two idiots do not know what the hell they're doing. And Ter Stegen, by the way, I'm really mad at him for what he's doing. But at the end of the day, the only loser here is FC Barcelona. And I'm here defending Barcelona. I'm not taking the side of Ter Stegen. I'm not taking the side of Laporta or Deco. Fuck them all. They're here right now. But in 2-3 years, they're not going to be. But the club will be. And the fact that all these people are dragging the club through this makes me angry. And this is why I'm saying this. Because I see a lot of anger towards Ter Stegen. Deservedly so. But don't forget that there's also another side to this coin, which is Laporta and Deco. Because they too are hurting the club. But anyways, that is all my thoughts and opinions about this whole situation. Let me know down below in the comment section what do you think. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, peace, guys.